Hi, I'm Dan, and today we're doing a food experiment with some homemade pastrami. So we're going to be beginning with a huge honk of brisket. This happens to be the full brisket, quite big, quite bloody, has the flat and the point still in one piece, and so the first work we'll be doing is to separate that flat from the point. It's a big old fatty piece of beef, but it is absolutely delicious, and that's what we hope to get at the end of this little experiment. But we'll dab it off, and we will let in very soon with a knife that I hope is sharp. Indeed, the truth is it was not all that sharp. But what we're going to do is start trimming this brisket. The fat comes off pretty easily. You trim it until basically you're happy with it. And then there's these two muscles, the flat and the point, that we need to separate. And so they sit kind of on top of each other. And there's a vein of beef fat that you just kind of cut along. And if you're determined and you're careful and you don't slice your fingers off, you will separate these two muscles. And so while we're at it, you take away some of this, fat that you don't need. Pretty nice feeling there. And trim as we go. There it is. And the more that we cut, the more these muscles come apart and become clearly distinct pieces. I'm kind of folding it back right now, and in just a second here, we'll see them separated. And so the point will be used for, smoked ends or, something else, but we're not going to use that today. We're just going to keep on going with this not very sharp knife, and we're going to start trimming off the rest of the fat cap to something like 1/4 inch. That's pretty much all you need and what you're looking for, whether you're smoking it or whether you're doing a cure like a pastrami or something like that. Looking pretty good. As the meat warms up, it gets a little bit harder to manage, but if your kitchen is cold, maybe you won't experience that so much. But give it a good little dry off and move on to your next step. Almost take off my toes there. Next step is going to be our brining spices. And so we're going to start with a little bit of coriander seed. Next is the peppercorn. And finally some mustard seed. And you want to bloom these spices, which is to say just put them on a hot, dry pan and, medium heat, something like that. Shake them around. After a bit, they're going to start dancing and popping. But I think more importantly, they're going to start to smell good. So that's how you know you're about done. After that, you want to break them. You want to pound them a little bit. You don't need to grind them or really go overdo or overboard with it. Bang with a pan, or if you're so inclined, get something else to crush them, which seems to work a little bit better in this case. It's just a metal measuring cup. Take a look, see how you're doing. Not done yet, go back at it. That seems about right. Not looking for anything in particular, just broken up spices and something like that. So now we're going to begin assembling the rest of the brine spices. So obviously we'll put in all that work that we just did into a bowl. Next are some juniper berries, about a tablespoon. Red pepper flakes, which, by the way, they should look really red. If yours are kind of dull, they're stale. Let's get rid of them. Next comes allspice berries. And I think these are whole cloves. Yep. This would be ground ginger. A teaspoon. Whoops. and mace. Mace is delicious. And bay leaves. And break up some cinnamon sticks. For the rest of the brine, you need salt. So this is going to be about 1.5 cups of kosher salt. Hope you enjoy the look of salt falling. Here is a cup of sugar. White sugar, regular old sugar, delicious sugar. Perfectionism, totally. And your Prague powder, 4 tablespoons. Looks like cotton candy or ice cream or something yummy. It's yummy for a different reason. It's yummy because it's full of nitrates. All right. So we are making a brine. We will start with some boiling water and carefully drop in all that goodness. Make it dissolve. Brining spices in. And basically at this stage, you just want it to boil for a bit. The spices will continue to bloom somewhat. Dump in 10 cloves of garlic, crushed garlic. And just let this boil for a few minutes. You don't need to kill it. You don't need to destroy it. After a while, I don't know if yours does this, but it does this cool thing where it kind of starts to breathe. You'll see what I mean. I have never seen anything quite like that, but there you go. It's breathing. It's alive. Or something. So with that all done, you put a bag of ice into a brining bucket. It's my first time using a brining bucket like this, but it's really cool because it's got a little lid that you can use to keep all of the food below the brine, top of the brine. So add the two together. The ice cools it down and also adds some liquid volume. So you don't want to put meat into warm water because you'll probably create some microbes. So once it's cool, and it is, you bring that meat in and you drop it in the bucket. There's only one of me, by the way. Trick of camera, looks like there's more than one of me, but there's just one of me. And what we'll do is use that lid to push down that meat below the surface. Pop a lid on it and pop it in the fridge. 6 days it's gonna sit there. 6 days it's gonna cure, at least. So we'll see what it looks like then.